Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you sit in silence, wondering why the people you thought were meant to stay forever suddenly leave. The ones you trusted, the ones you loved, the ones you couldn't imagine your life without, they disappear. And it feels like your world is crumbling. It's in those moments when your heart aches and the nights feel longer than the days that you ask God, why? Let me tell you something, my friend. When God begins to shift things in your life, He doesn't ask for your permission. He doesn't wait for your understanding. And He doesn't consult your comfort zone. He starts clearing the path. He starts removing the weights. Because the people who left, they couldn't go where He's taking you. You see, God's plan for your life is like a journey up a mountain. The higher you climb, the thinner the air, and not everyone can breathe at the altitude where God is taking you. They're not built for your next chapter. They're not ready for the blessings He's about to pour out over your life. Sometimes the people who walk away aren't bad people. They just can't carry the weight of your destiny. And sometimes their season in your life has simply expired. God isn't punishing you by removing them. He's preparing you. He's pruning you. And though it hurts, that pain is the very proof that God is working on you. But here's the part that really gets me. Every time we cry over what God is taking away, not realizing He's making room for something better, something bigger, something divine. You can't hold on to yesterday and still embrace tomorrow. God needs your hands free. He needs your heart ready. Have you ever felt the ache of losing someone you thought would be in your life forever? The sudden void is unsettling, and the emptiness often feels unbearable. But what if I told you that the pain you feel isn't there to break you, but to build you? What if that heartbreak is the chisel in the hands of the master sculptor, carving you into something greater than you could ever imagine? When God removes people from your life, it's rarely easy, but it's always necessary. Pain is His way of preparing you for what's ahead. Think of it like pruning a tree. To someone who doesn't understand the process, pruning looks like destruction. Branches are cut, leaves fall, and the tree appears diminished. But the gardener knows that without pruning, the tree won't grow to its fullest potential. Those branches being removed aren't signs of death, they're signs of life. God is doing the same with your life. Sometimes the people who leave are the very ones holding you back. Maybe it's their negativity, their lack of vision, or their inability to see your worth. You might not notice it now, but they could be the dead weight keeping you from soaring. God, in His infinite wisdom, sees this long before you do. And because He loves you too much to let you settle for less, He intervenes even if it hurts. But let's be real in the moment. The pain feels unbearable. You might cry out, God, why did you let them leave? Don't you see how much I need them yet? The truth is, what you think you need isn't always what God knows is best. He sees the future. He knows the battles you'll face and the victories you'll achieve. And sometimes the very people you're holding on to are the ones standing in the way of that victory. Pain is also a form of growth. Think about muscles that grow stronger. They first must tear. It's a painful process, but the end result is greater strength and resilience. When God allows you to experience the pain of separation, He's strengthening you for the path ahead. He's teaching you to lean not on people, but on Him. He's molding you into someone who can withstand the storms of life without falling apart. Pain has a way of teaching us lessons we wouldn't learn otherwise. It teaches you to value your own company, to recognize your inner strength, and to trust God's plan more than your own desires. It strips away the illusion of control and forces you to rely on Him. And in that reliance, you find a peace that surpasses understanding, a peace that can only come from knowing that God is in control, even when life feels out of control. The most beautiful transformations often come from the most painful experiences. Think of a caterpillar in its cocoon. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. In fact, it might even seem like the caterpillar has been buried alive. But inside, a miraculous transformation is taking place. The caterpillar is becoming a butterfly. And when it finally emerges, it's no longer confined to crawling, it can soar. Your pain is your cocoon. It's the place where God is transforming you, preparing you to fly. And though it feels isolating and dark, it's not the end. It's the beginning of something beautiful. So embrace the pain, even when it feels unbearable. Cry if you need to. Scream if it helps, but don't lose hope. Know that God is using this season to prepare you for something greater. He's not punishing you, He's positioning you. And one day when you look back, you'll see that the pain wasn't there to destroy you. It was there to shape you into who you were always meant to be. The higher you climb, the thinner the air. That's not just a fact about mountains, it's a truth about life. The journey to your destiny is like ascending a great peak. At the bottom, the crowd is large. Everyone can breathe easily and the journey feels manageable. But as you go higher, the path narrows and not everyone can handle the altitude. Your destiny is unique and it's heavy. Not everyone is built to carry the weight of it. When God removes people from your life, it's because they're not equipped to go where He's taking you. It's not an insult to them, and it's not a reflection of your worth. It's simply a matter of alignment. Some people are meant to walk with you for a season, but not every season. Think about it. If you're climbing a mountain, the heavier your load, the harder it is to reach the top. God knows this. He sees the relationships, habits, and attachments that are weighing you down. And because he wants you to succeed, he starts removing the excess baggage. But here's the thing, not everyone will understand your journey. Some people will question your decisions and others will resent your growth. They might accuse you of changing or of leaving them behind. But let me tell you, this growth requires change. You can't stay the same person and still fulfill the calling God has placed on your life. There's a story in the Bible about Gideon. When he was preparing for battle, he started with thousands of soldiers, but God told him to send most of them home. Why? Because not everyone was meant to fight alongside him. God knew that the victory wouldn't come from numbers, but from his divine power. The same is true for your life. You don't need a crowd to fulfill your destiny. You just need the right people, those who align with God's purpose for you. The people who leave your life aren't necessarily bad people. They might have been good friends, supportive partners, or even loving family members, but good isn't always enough. God is calling you to something extraordinary, and extraordinary requires sacrifice. Sometimes the weight of your destiny also means walking alone for a while. It's in those moments of solitude that you discover who you really are. You learn to hear God's voice more clearly. You start to see the vision he has for your life. And you realize that while people may walk away, God never does. As you climb higher, you'll also notice that the air becomes clearer, the distractions fade, and the noise quiets. What felt like loss at the base of the mountain now feels like freedom at the summit. You're lighter, more focused, and more determined than ever. So don't fear the process. Don't cling to what God is asking you to release. Trust that he knows what he's doing. The weight of your destiny is too great to carry unnecessary burdens. Let go of what no longer serves you and embrace the climb. God is leading you to heights you've never imagined, and when you get there, you'll see that every step was worth it. Sometimes when we look at our lives and see people leaving or doors closing, it feels like chaos, it feels like loss. But what if that chaos is actually God organizing your life? What if those closed doors are his way of protecting you from the wrong paths? And what if the people who left were only holding space for the ones who were truly meant to walk with you? When God starts clearing the path, it's not to hurt you, it's to bless you. But blessings need space. You can't receive something new while holding on to what no longer serves you. Imagine trying to carry a new treasure in your hands while clinging to something old and broken. You'd drop it, wouldn't you? That's why God intervenes. He sees the bigger picture, and he knows that in order for you to step into your purpose, some things and some people have to go. It's easy to misinterpret God's clearing process as rejection. When people leave, we ask, what's wrong with me? When opportunities close, we think, did I fail? But let me tell you this, it's not rejection, it's redirection. God isn't taking away, he's making room. He's not subtracting from your life, he's preparing to multiply it. Picture a gardener tending to a field. Before they plant new seeds, they clear out the weeds, they remove the rocks, they till the soil to ensure it's ready for growth. It's a messy process, but it's necessary for the harvest. That's exactly what God is doing in your life. He's pulling out what doesn't belong, even if it feels uncomfortable, so that when the blessings come, they'll have fertile ground to grow. Sometimes the people who leave your life are weeds in disguise. They may not seem harmful, but they could be silently draining your energy, your focus, or your faith. They might even be blocking the blessings God has in store for you. And because you may not see it, God steps in and does the work for you. It might feel painful, but it's his way of protecting you. Here's the beautiful part. When God clears the path, he doesn't leave it empty. He fills it with his promises. He replaces what was lost with something better. But you have to trust the process. You have to believe that what's coming is greater than what's gone. Think about a house under renovation. Before the new walls go up or the fresh paint is applied, the old structure has to be torn down. There's dust everywhere, debris on the ground, and it looks like chaos. But the builder knows exactly what they're doing. They're not destroying the house, they're rebuilding it. And when the work is done, it's stronger, more beautiful, and better equipped for the future. The same is true for your life. When God starts clearing things out, it's because he's renovating your soul. He's preparing you to hold the blessings he's about to pour out. And let me tell you, when those blessings come, they'll be more than you could ever imagine. So don't be afraid when things start to shift. Don't resist the changes God is making. Instead, surrender to his plan. Trust that every person who leaves, every door that closes, and every moment of discomfort is all part of his divine design. Because when God clears the path, it's not just to make room, it's to set the stage for your breakthrough. Sometimes we're so focused on what we want that we forget about what we need. We pray for blessings, for breakthroughs, for a life of abundance, and then we wonder why God starts removing things and people from our lives. It's confusing, isn't it? But what we don't see is that God's protection doesn't always look like what we expect. When God removes someone from your life, it's not rejection, it's protection. He sees what you can't. He hears the conversations you'll never know about. He knows the intentions behind every action, even the ones hidden from you. And when someone isn't meant to be in your life, he doesn't hesitate to act. Think of a shepherd tending to their flock. When a sheep wanders too close to danger, the shepherd doesn't wait for the sheep to understand the threat. They step in immediately, pulling the sheep away, even if the sheep resists. Why? Because the shepherd's priority is the safety of the sheep, not its comfort. God is your shepherd. He's not concerned with your temporary discomfort. He's focused on your eternal protection. Sometimes the people who leave your life aren't bad people, but they're not right for you. They might have hidden motives, or maybe their journey is simply taking a different direction. Whatever the case, God removes them to shield you from future harm. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll look back and realize that their departure was a blessing in disguise. Think about this when you're driving and see a roadblock. You might feel frustrated at first, but that roadblock could be there to prevent you from heading into danger, a fallen tree, a collapsed bridge, or something even worse. God places roadblocks in your life for the same reason. What looks like an obstacle is actually his way of steering you towards safety. The truth is, God loves you too much to let you stay in situations or relationships that will harm you. He sees your potential, your purpose, and your destiny, and he won't let anything or anyone stand in the way of that. It's not always easy to accept, though. When someone leaves, it's natural to feel hurt, confused, or even angry. You might ask God, why did you let this happen? But remember, every loss is a part of his plan. Every closed door is his way of redirecting you to something better. Divine protection doesn't always feel like protection in the moment. Sometimes it feels like loss. But God isn't removing people to punish you. He's removing them to protect you. He's creating boundaries around your heart, your mind, and your spirit to ensure that you're aligned with his will. And let me tell you this, God's protection is always for your good. You may not see it now, but one day you'll understand. You'll look back and realize that the very people you cried over were the ones God had to remove to save you from heartache, betrayal, or missed opportunities. So when someone leaves your life, don't chase after them. Don't beg them to stay. Instead, thank God for his protection. Trust that he's working behind the scenes to bring the right people into your life at the right time. And know that when God removes, it's always because he's preparing to replace. Not with something ordinary, but with something extraordinary. Rest in the fact that you are loved by a God who sees what you can't, knows what you don't, and protects you from what you'll never have to face. His protection is your greatest blessing. Trust it. Faith isn't built in comfort. Trust isn't forged in certainty. Both grow in the soil of uncertainty and adversity, in moments when you can't see what lies ahead and have no choice but to rely on God. When people are removed from your life, it's not just a test of your endurance, it's a test of your faith. Will you trust the one who holds the blueprint to your life, even when you can't understand the design? When God allows relationships to fall apart or lets people leave, it's not because he's forgotten about you, it's because he's drawing you closer to him. Often we rely on people as crutches. We lean on their support, their opinions, and their presence so much that we forget the one who is supposed to be our ultimate foundation. God removes those crutches to remind us that he alone is our source of strength, security, and stability. Faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting God even when the answers don't make sense. It's about saying, God, I don't understand why this is happening, but I trust that you do. When someone leaves your life, it's easy to spiral into self-doubt or bitterness. You may question your worth, your decisions, or even your relationship with God. But let me tell you this, their departure isn't a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of God's plan. Think of a parent teaching their child to walk. At first, the child clings to their parent's hands, relying on them for balance. But eventually, the parent has to let go. It's not because they want the child to fall. It's because they want them to learn to stand on their own. The same is true with God. Sometimes he allows people to leave so that you can learn to stand in faith. Faith is like a muscle. It grows stronger with use. When you lose someone, it's an opportunity to flex that muscle to say, God, I trust you. I believe that this loss is part of your greater plan for my life. It's not easy, but it's necessary. Faith grows in the gap between what you want and what God provides. Trusting God doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It doesn't mean you won't grieve or question. But it does mean that even in your pain, you believe that he is working all things for your good. It means you hold on to the promise that he will never leave you nor forsake you, even when others do. Let's not forget that trust is built over time. Each time God removes someone from your life and replaces that void with something greater, your trust in him deepens. You begin to see a pattern, a divine rhythm in his actions. What felt like loss in the moment becomes clarity in hindsight, and as your trust grows, so does your peace. Faith isn't about the absence of fear, it's about moving forward despite it. Trusting God when people leave your life isn't about pretending you're okay, it's about believing that in time you will be. It's about holding on to the truth that God's plans are higher than yours, his timing is perfect, and his love for you is unshakable. When God removes someone, he's asking you to trust him with the void they leave behind. To trust that he can fill it with something greater, something that aligns with his purpose for your life. And when you do, you'll find that what seemed like loss was actually gain. You'll realize that every removal was an act of love, a step closer to the destiny he has for you. There's a certain strength that comes from standing on your own, a resilience that grows when you're no longer leaning on others, but instead standing firm in your faith and self-reliance. When God removes people from your life, it's often because he's teaching you to find that strength, to discover the power within yourself and the power that comes from fully relying on him. We often underestimate what we're capable of because we're so used to leaning on others, friends, family, partners. They become our safety nets. And while it's beautiful to have a support system, it can sometimes prevent us from tapping into our own potential. God, in his infinite wisdom, knows this. He knows that in order for you to grow into the person he created you to be, you need to learn to stand on your own. When people leave, it can feel like the ground beneath you is crumbling. But what if, instead of sinking, you're being given the chance to build a new foundation, one that's not dependent on others, but rooted in your faith and your strength? God isn't isolating you, he's elevating you. He's giving you the opportunity to rise to the occasion, to prove to yourself that you're stronger than you think. Relying on yourself doesn't mean you have to do it alone. It means learning to trust the gifts, talents, and abilities God has placed within you. It means recognizing that with him by your side, you're capable of overcoming any obstacle. And it means stepping into your purpose with confidence, knowing that you have everything you need to succeed. Think about it, diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined in fire. And you are being shaped and strengthened in the moments when you feel most alone. Those moments are not the end, they're the beginning. They're the turning point where you stop doubting yourself and start believing in the power of God working through you. Sometimes God removes people to show you that you're enough, that you don't need their approval, their validation, or their presence to move forward. He's teaching you to rely on him as your ultimate source. Because when you learn to trust God in yourself, no setback, no loss, and no obstacle can stop you. This process isn't easy. It requires courage, patience, and faith. It requires you to step out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. But in doing so, you'll discover a strength you didn't know you had. A strength that comes from knowing that no matter what happens, God has your back. When God teaches you to rely on yourself and him, he's not just preparing you for the challenges ahead, he's preparing you for the blessings. He's equipping you to handle the success, the responsibility, and the opportunities that come with your destiny. And when those blessings arrive, you'll look back and realize that every loss, every lesson, and every lonely moment was worth it. So when people leave, don't see it as a setback. See it as a setup for growth, for strength, and for a deeper connection with God. Trust that he's not taking away, he's teaching. And in his teaching, he's shaping you into the person you were always meant to be: strong, resilient, and unshakable. When God removes someone from your life, it's not just about subtraction, it's about transformation. Each time someone leaves, it's an opportunity for growth, a chance for God to refine your character for the journey ahead. We often focus on the loss, the emptiness, and the pain, but what if God is using that very moment to shape you into the person you're destined to become? Character isn't built in moments of ease. It's forged in the fire of adversity, shaped in the moments when you're forced to confront who you are without the crutches of comfort and familiarity. When someone leaves your life, it's not an end, it's a beginning. It's God's way of saying, I have greater things in store for you, but first I need to prepare you. Think about the process of refining gold. Before it becomes a beautiful, valuable piece, it must go through fire. The heat melts away impurities, leaving behind only the purest form. That's what God does when he allows relationships to fall away. He's removing the impurities, the distractions, and the attachments that could hold you back. He's preparing you to shine, to step into your destiny with clarity and strength. But here's the thing, growth is uncomfortable. Strengthening your character often requires letting go of what's familiar. It requires stepping into the unknown, facing your fears, and trusting that God is guiding you every step of the way. When someone leaves, it's natural to feel abandoned, but God is never far. He's closer than ever, working behind the scenes to mold you into the person you need to be for the blessings ahead. Consider the story of Joseph in the Bible. His journey was filled with rejection and loss. His brothers betrayed him, selling him into slavery. He was thrown into prison for a crime he didn't commit. Yet, through it all, God was strengthening his character. He was preparing Joseph to step into his ultimate purpose as a leader who would save countless lives. Without those trials, Joseph wouldn't have been ready for the responsibility that lay ahead. God is doing the same for you. Each loss, each removal is a step in the process of strengthening your character. He's teaching you resilience, humility, and faith. He's helping you discover your true worth, not based on who stays in your life, but on the unshakable foundation of his love and purpose for you. It's easy to feel bitter when someone leaves, to question why God would allow such pain. But what if, instead of asking, why me, you ask, what is this teaching me? What if you saw every loss as an opportunity for growth, the chance to become the person God created you to be? God isn't just preparing you for the blessings, he's preparing you for the challenges that come with them. The people who leave your life are often the ones who would have held you back, distracted you, or pulled you off course. Their departure isn't a punishment, it's a preparation. And as God strengthens your character, you'll find that you're not just surviving, you're thriving. When you look back on this season, you'll see that every loss, every moment of discomfort was a necessary step in your journey. You'll see that God wasn't breaking you down, he was building you up. And when you finally step into the purpose he has for you, you'll realize that it was all worth it. Every person in your life serves a purpose. Some are there to teach you lessons, others to walk with you for a season, and a select few to journey with you for a lifetime. But here's the truth, not everyone is meant to stay. When God removes someone, it's often because they no longer align with the purpose he has for your life. Alignment is crucial. Imagine trying to build a house with mismatched tools or running a race with uneven footing. It wouldn't work, would it? The same goes for relationships. If the people around you don't align with God's plan for your life, they can't help you build your future. In fact, they might even hinder it. God sees what you can't. He knows the hearts of those around you, their intentions, and their true impact on your life. While you may see someone as a friend, a partner, or even a mentor, God sees whether they're helping or hurting your journey. And when someone no longer aligns with his purpose for you, he removes them not to harm you, but to protect and guide you. Alignment isn't just about shared interests or goals. It's about spiritual and emotional harmony. It's about being surrounded by people who uplift you, challenge you to grow, and walk with you in faith. When someone leaves your life, it's often because they're no longer contributing to that harmony. It might hurt in the moment, but trust that God is making room for the right people, the ones who will align with his purpose for your life. Consider the story of Jesus and his disciples. Even within his inner circle, not everyone was aligned with his purpose. Judas, though close to him, had his own motives that ultimately led to betrayal. Yet even Judas' departure served a greater purpose in God's plan. Sometimes the people who leave your life are the very ones whose absence will bring you closer to your destiny. God's alignment isn't just about removing the wrong people, it's about positioning you for divine connections. He's creating space for relationships that will propel you forward, that will bring out the best in you and draw you closer to him. But first, you have to let go of what no longer serves you. Letting go isn't easy. It requires faith, courage, and a deep trust in God's plan. It means surrendering your own understanding and believing that his ways are higher. It means trusting that every person who leaves is making room for someone better, someone who will walk with you in purpose and faith. When God aligns your relationships, he's not just thinking about today, he's thinking about your future. He's preparing you for the blessings, the challenges, and the opportunities ahead. And he's surrounding you with the right people to help you navigate that journey. So when someone leaves your life, don't fight it. Don't cling to what's meant to go. Instead, trust that God is aligning your relationships with his purpose. Trust that he's bringing the right people into your life at the right time. And know that when you're surrounded by those who truly align with your purpose, you'll feel a sense of peace, clarity, and strength that only God can provide. When someone exits your life, it may feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you. The emotional void can be overwhelming, leaving you questioning your path and wondering why God would allow such pain. But let me tell you something profound. Every departure has a divine purpose. When God removes someone, it's not a punishment, it's a redirection. It's his way of helping you refocus on the purpose and destiny he has uniquely designed for you. Distractions often come disguised as relationships. Sometimes the very people we hold dear, the ones we think we can't live without, can unknowingly pull us away from the path God has laid out for us. It's not that they're bad people, it's just that their role in your story may have come to an end. And when they linger beyond their purpose, they become distractions, keeping you from pursuing the calling God has placed on your life. When someone leaves, God is saying, my child, it's time to realign. He's helping you strip away the noise and the clutter so that you can focus on what truly matters. He's clearing your vision so you can see the opportunities and blessings that were hidden by the shadow of the relationship. Sometimes you're so caught up in the presence of others that you forget your own presence, your own dreams, your own goals, your own destiny. Think of it like pruning a tree. To make room for new growth, the gardener has to cut away the old dead branches. It's not to harm the tree, but to help it flourish. God does the same with your life. The people who leave are like those branches. They've served their purpose and their season in your life has ended. By letting them go, you're making room for new growth, for new opportunities, and for the people who will help you fulfill your destiny. But focusing on your purpose isn't just about letting go of distractions. It's about leaning into God's guidance. It's about seeking his will for your life and trusting that he knows what's best. The pain of someone leaving isn't meant to paralyze you, it's meant to propel you. It's a wake-up call, a reminder to stop looking back and start moving forward. When you focus on your purpose, you shift your perspective. You stop asking, why did they leave, and start asking, what is God calling me to do now? You begin to see the bigger picture, the one God has been painting all along. And as you step into your purpose, you'll find that the people who truly belong in your life will come alongside you. They'll support your vision, share your values, and walk with you in faith. God's purpose for your life is too important to be derailed by temporary relationships. When he removes someone, it's because he's protecting your destiny. He's clearing the way for you to step into the fullness of who he created you to be. And when you embrace that, when you focus on your purpose with unwavering faith, you'll find a sense of peace and fulfillment that no relationship could ever provide. So don't mourn what's lost, celebrate what's ahead. Trust that God is guiding you toward a future that's brighter, bigger, and more beautiful than anything you could imagine. And remember, every loss is a step closer to your destiny. Timing is everything, especially when it comes to God's plan for your life. We often want things to happen on our schedule, but God's timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own. When someone leaves your life, it can feel abrupt, unfair, or even cruel. But what if that departure is God's way of encouraging you to trust his timing and lean into his plan? God doesn't operate on our timeline. He sees the beginning and the end, the twists and turns that we can't predict. While we may see the loss of a relationship as a setback, God sees it as a setup. He's positioning you for something greater, something that aligns with his divine purpose for your life. And sometimes that means removing people who aren't meant to walk with you into your next season. Trusting God's timing requires patience, a virtue that's often hard to embrace, especially when you're hurting. You may wonder, why now? Why this person? Why this way? But God doesn't always give us immediate answers. Instead, he asks us to trust him, to believe that his plans are for our good, even when they don't make sense in the moment. Think about a farmer planting seeds. The farmer doesn't see immediate results. The seeds take time to grow. But during that waiting period, there's a process happening beneath the surface. Roots are forming, the soil is nourishing, and the seed is preparing to break through. The same is true in your life. When someone leaves, it may feel like nothing is happening, but God is working behind the scenes. He's preparing you for the harvest, for the blessings and opportunities that are just around the corner. God's timing is not just about when things happen, it's about how and why they happen. When someone exits your life, it's often because their chapter in your story has ended. Holding on to them would only delay the blessings God has in store for you. By letting go and trusting his timing, you're making room for the new relationships, opportunities, and experiences that align with his plan. Relying on God's timing also means surrendering control. It means admitting that you don't have all the answers, and that's okay. It's about trading your timeline for his, knowing that he's never late, never early, but always right on time. It's about believing that even in the midst of loss, God is still in control. When you rely on his timing, you're choosing faith over fear. You're saying, God, I don't understand why this is happening, but I trust that you do. I trust that your plan is greater than my pain, and in that trust, you'll find peace. You'll find that the waiting is not wasted. It's where God does his best work. The people who leave your life are not the end of your story. They're part of the process. They're part of God's intricate plan to shape you, grow you, and prepare you for what's next. So instead of clinging to what's gone, focus on what's coming. Focus on the fact that God's timing is perfect and his plans are always for your good. When you look back, you'll see that every loss, every delay, and every unanswered prayer was leading you to something greater. You'll realize that God's timing wasn't just right, it was perfect. And in that moment, you'll thank him for every person who left, every door that closed, and every moment you had to rely on his plan. Because through it all, he was leading you to your destiny. When God removes someone from your life, it may feel like heartbreak or loss, but it's often his divine way of redirecting you toward your purpose. Every departure is part of a greater plan, one that we can't always understand in the moment. God sees the entire picture, the opportunities ahead, the pitfalls he's protecting you from, and the blessings he's preparing you to receive. Sometimes the people who leave are distractions, keeping you from focusing on the path God has set before you. Their presence might have been comforting, but their season in your life has ended. By removing them, God creates space for personal growth, spiritual alignment, and new relationships that truly resonate with his plan for you. This pruning process can feel painful, but it strengthens your character. Like gold refined in fire, you emerge resilient, wiser, and better prepared for the journey ahead. God often uses these moments to teach you resilience, humility, and reliance on his guidance. When someone leaves, it's not about loss, it's about preparation. Trusting God's timing is key. His plan may not align with your expectations, but his timing is perfect. He removes people not to punish you, but to position you for what's next. While it may feel like a setback, it's often a setup for something greater. During these moments, God asks you to lean into faith, surrender control, and believe that his plan is for your good. These removals also serve to realign your relationships with His purpose. Not everyone in your life is meant to journey with you forever. Some are there for a season to teach, challenge, or support you, but their departure signifies a shift toward relationships that truly uplift and inspire you. Ultimately, God's actions are about focusing your heart and mind on your destiny. Each removal, each moment of discomfort is part of His intricate plan to prepare you for the blessings and opportunities that lie ahead. So when people leave your life, trust that it's part of His divine design. He's clearing the way for you to step into your purpose, strengthened and ready to embrace the extraordinary future He's prepared just for you. So wipe your tears, straighten your back, and lift your eyes to the heavens. The same God who took people out of your life is the same God who will fill the void. The same God who closed the door is the same God who closed the door is the same God who will open a better one. Hold on, because when God moves, He moves in ways that leave no doubt it was Him all along. And when He's finished, you'll look back and thank Him not just for who came into your life, but for who had to leave to make room for your destiny.